Well, it has now been close to a decade since former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged to end all drinking water advisories in First Nations communities within 5 years. But several still remain in effect. 35 advisories, in fact, remain in place across 33 communities, the majority of which are in Ontario. For more this morning, I'm joined by Algonquin Elder and University of Ottawa Chancellor Claudette Commanda. Welcome to your morning.
Good morning.
We understand that 35 advisories, in fact, isn't necessarily an accurate reflection. Earlier this week, we were speaking with former MKO Grand Chief Sheila North, who had mentioned that just because the infrastructure is in place doesn't mean it is operational to many homes. So how many long-term advisories are actually in place?
Well, that's a good question, Anne-Marie. The numbers keep changing and we don't really, at least I haven't seen like a true accurate number, but even if we just use that number 35, that's still 35 communities that remain under a boil water advisory. And that's unacceptable here in a country like Canada. Totally unacceptable.
Absolutely. And we've seen reporting, from our network and others that show what that actually looks like on the day-to-day. We're talking about bathing and children and lunches, water to brush your teeth. Just to break those numbers down further, 5 of those are in Manitoba, 5 are in Saskatchewan, 1 is in Newfoundland and Labrador, and the rest are in Ontario. It's going to be 10 years this October since that bold promise by the Trudeau government. What do you make of the fact that we still have 35 advisories a decade on?
Well, I asked a question. Why? Why is the promise not fulfilled? First Nations relied on this promise, and they were very encouraged that their communities would have safe drinking water. And as we said earlier, safe drinking water includes water that you need to cook, water that you need to bathe, water to drink. It's not happening. And how long, much more do we have to wait for this? So it's unacceptable, totally unacceptable. And is it going to take another 10 years? We don't know what this new government will, whomever comes into government, we don't know what the promise will be. We don't know what the expectation will be. So how do we get through this? Do First Nations have to continue to advocate? Do First Nations have to continue to raise awareness? And even when we do, who is listening?
We're in the federal election, as you know, and we're about 20 or so days until Canada selects a new government. What does this next government need to do to address the ongoing advisories and get that number to 0?
Well, immediately, they have to get moving on it. They have to take they need to get moving on it by saying, okay, enough is enough. We need to get this done. It's been longer than 10 years, absolutely. There should be not one community in this very flourishing, rich country of Canada where First Nations people have to be waiting for safe, clean drinking water. This would never happen anywhere at all in any other community, and in particular in urban areas. We need to be treated with respect, and they have to validate the issue, and they have to get moving on it and deal with this and put clean, drinking, safe water in those 35 communities, as well as to ensure that all the infrastructures that are in all the communities are up in operations, maintained, and in good quality and care.
In the past, when the government's been pressed on this issue, they will point to the fact that they have put billions towards this project and of lifting the boil water advisories. So if the money has been sent and they're aware of the problem, what is the disconnect there? Why do we still have 35 communities who are using baby wipes to wash their kids?
Well, that's a good question. We've been asking the very, very same question. And I think I think a lot of it has to do with maybe there's the capacity. Are they sending in experts to do this, to create, to put into place the infrastructure? Are they providing training in the community so they can maintain the infrastructure? Or is it just purely caught up in bureaucratic administration? And I think a lot of it has to do with bureaucratic administration and then jurisdictional issues. You go from the federal into the provincial, and then perhaps maybe there could be some, municipal regulations. Who knows? And then there was all kinds of different regulations that come into place, which shouldn't be. They should not put these barriers. They need to act on this immediately because our children's lives, our children's health is at stake.
Claudette Commanda, Algonquin Elder and University of Ottawa Chancellor, I appreciate your insight this morning. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. You take good care.
You too.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.